Now at 9, Freeman Health System announces the location for a new hospital coming to Southeast Kansas. Plus, how the city of Baxter Springs, Kansas is using a new art grant. And while area schools have enough teachers headed into the new year, some face staffing issues in other areas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Freeman Health System is building a full-service hospital in Southeast Kansas. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Nearly a year after the initial announcement, officials shared the new hospital location today, north of Pittsburgh on Highway 69, just south of the Harley-Davidson Training School. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has the details.
This field is the site for Freeman's Health System's first full-service hospital in Southeast Kansas.
We already have a great number of people who come to us from Pittsburgh, from Frontenac and surrounding communities. They've already selected us as their healthcare provider, so we want to bring that care close to home for all the residents of Southeast Kansas.
The hospital will be located north on Highway 69. Freeman's executive officer, Paula Baker, says the location of the hospital improves rural healthcare access.
This is an optimal location for us because it is located centrally for many of the communities in Southeast Kansas to take advantage of. We have good highway access right off the bypass, which can be difficult to obtain. And so we feel that everything came together to make this a very ideal location.
Not only will it help Frontenac, Pittsburgh will definitely benefit from it, as well as all of Southeast Kansas and even the surrounding states a little bit. But it's a huge asset to the city of Frontenac, and we couldn't be more fortunate, and I'm sure all the folks in Frontenac are going to be very thrilled.
Frontenac city officials are planning a housing development near the future hospital. The mayor sees this as perfect timing.
And then they all reached out to us because we just announced last week we were doing a 500-acre annexation for a new housing project out here. And then this is going to sit right on the front of that and be the cornerstone to that new development. So it's a very great thing for our area, and we're so looking forward to it and all the jobs it'll create.
Reporting in Frontenac, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Now, earlier this month, Freeman announced it was taking over operations of the emergency room in Fort Scott and opening a 10-bed acute care hospital there. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, it was definitely a hot day for us today, but the humidity wasn't too bad across the region, which is always good, but we did make it up to 91 degrees. Started at 64 early this morning, advertised 90, so this is pretty typical for the middle of July. 106 the record, set back in 2011, and still temperature is pretty good. Upper 70s to near 80, and then you still get into low to mid 80s once you get out across southeastern Kansas, northeastern parts of Oklahoma, but there's not a whole bunch going on. Had some cumulus clouds earlier, but underneath any clouds we have out there, we are dry. We are watching thunderstorms to our north, some dying ones across central Missouri, another little complex just north of Kansas City, and it's that weak little boundary that's going to head in tomorrow, giving us a few pop-up storms. We'll drop back to about 69, 82 by 10 a.m. It continues to get hotter. We're going to talk about that here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Joplin police released more details on a fatal tractor-trailer rollover that happened yesterday morning. The driver of the tractor-trailer has been identified as 58-year-old Mario Suarez of Blue Springs, Missouri. Suarez died in the I-44 crash. Police also say the truck was carrying corrosive chemicals, which was safely cleaned up yesterday evening. Volunteers from Subaru donated boxes of blankets to the Freeman Cornell Bashore Cancer Institute in Joplin today. Blankets provide warmth to cancer patients who are dealing with not only the stress of the illness, but sometimes the physical demands of the treatment.
Here at Freeman, our top priority is to give high quality care and to have good clinical outcomes. A big part of that is actually taking care of the patient all around. So making them comfortable, making them be able to tolerate the treatment well is really important. So this event, Subaru gives a really high quality blanket to the patient.
Amazing, because it's not only like to us is not just a dealership. We're like a family, so we like to take part in our community. It's amazing, and it makes me feel so honored and so humble, and just proud to be where I work.
Well, this donation marks 8 years of participation in the Subaru Loves to Care program. Well, Baxter Springs Public Art Committee announces a historical mural today, planned to unveil in September. KOAM intern Mitch Adams has the story.
Baxter Springs Mural Art Committee held a press announcement unveiling a new mural project near Baxter Springs High School. Officials say the purpose of the mural will be to visually depict the town's history, as well as encouraging community revitalization efforts.
Things, especially being across the street from a high school, like the students going to school every day, they can see it. And then it just kind of brings people through town. Helps them stop and want to check it out. They might stop at other places in town, and that's just really what we like to see.
The Office of Rural Prosperity, a division of the Kansas Department of Commerce, awarded Baxter Springs and 11 other small communities a public arts grant. State-issued grants like these encourage artistic expression, as well as bringing back vibrancy to these small rural towns.
We were lucky enough to receive the grant. It was a $7,500 award, and then Jim Hoskins with the Ronald O. Thomas Foundation was kind enough to step forward and match those funds, which was required, with another $75,000, which brought it to a total of $15,000.
We like to be able to showcase really great things about these rural communities. Whenever we see these grants come through for public art like this, we just really like and encourage seeing, things that are personalized for the towns.
The giant mural will be visible to visitors and residents alike, adding more historical value to an already historic Route 66. Reporting from Baxter Springs, I'm Mitch Adams, KOAM News.
Well, you can find more information about the coming mural on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, it is a fair season here in the 4 states, and this week the Cherryville Youth Fair is underway. Young exhibitors, part of Montgomery County 4-H, have been setting up to show off their livestock, including rabbits. For one exhibitor, the Cherryville Fair represents her favorite fair of the year.
So this is actually my favorite fair of all the fairs I've gone to. It has a family-like atmosphere. You get so close with everyone here. The Cherryville Fair always gives back to the community, which is awesome.
The fair is open to the public. Waking up feeling refreshed. Coming up, we'll have tips to help you fight constant morning grogginess. A new Gallup survey finds people around the world are struggling with their emotions on a daily basis. According to the survey, about 23% of people worldwide reported feeling loneliness at many points the previous day. Those emotions were often combined with intensifying feelings of physical pain, worry, sadness, stress, and anger. Well, 7 to 9 hours a night. That's how much sleep is recommended for adults. But sometimes you can get the right amount of sleep and still wake up feeling tired. Mandy Gaither has more on what may be causing morning grogginess and how to help prevent it.
If you get enough Z's but can't kick the morning grogginess, there may be a reason, something known as a heightened state of sleep inertia.
It's just what it sounds like. You are awake, but there's a lot of inertia of sleep left over that affects your memory and your mood, your reaction time, and your alertness as you're waking up.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta says these effects usually go away after 15 minutes to an hour, but they can also last longer. Gupta says it's not about the quantity of sleep when it comes to this. Instead, it's the quality of those Z's.
We've talked about the basics of good sleep hygiene before, like keeping your bedroom dark, quiet, cold, and avoiding screens at nighttime.
But Gupta says there are other lifestyle things that can also affect how a person feels when they wake, including being sedentary. Your body can get used to expending low energy, making you more tired, and having inconsistent sleep schedules like staying up late on weekends. He says it can create almost a jet lag effect.
Also, remember that some people might need more sleep than others. So maybe you need 9 hours, and other experts suggest trying to go to sleep an hour earlier or waking up an hour later than usual to see if that can also make a difference.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, experts say sleep is a critical part of being healthy, and while you sleep, the body works to support brain health and helps maintain physical health. Well, pollution may increase the chance of developing lupus. A study published in Arthritis and Rheumatology found people exposed to air pollution had a greater chance of catching the autoimmune disease. The study authors say tougher air quality standards are needed. Lupus affects more than 1.5 million Americans, and the majority of patients are women of childbearing age. Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later we'll meet the 4 Frontenac High School wrestlers competing in the national championships this weekend.
Well, of course, it was hot outside today. Temperatures, most of us near 90, if not into lower 90s, but at least the humidity hasn't been too bad. Looks pretty good right now. Here's a nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Terracam, which of course is downtown Joplin. So we're looking from 7th over 7th and Joplin Street off toward the north and to the east through downtown, but pretty much clear skies up top. Currently sitting outside 77 in Stockton, 79 in Neosho. Carthage is sitting at 80. Bentonville 81, 81 in Miami Grove, 78 in Pittsburgh. Neodesha is sitting at 79 degrees. Let's go outside. Here's 7th and Rangeline sitting at 81, east southeasterly winds at about 5 to 10, but our humidity hasn't been that bad. Now our dew points come up a little bit as we go into the middle of the evening into the overnight hours. So we're kind of sitting in that sticky range, but we're not really muggy or soupy, and at least we're going to stay that way over the next couple days, and then we'll start to see the humidity increasing just a bit. All right, not much going on here. We've been tracking thunderstorms across north central parts of Missouri most of the evening. Another little batch is diving down through Kansas City, so some of these storms may get into our northern counties a little bit later on tonight. In Nevada, Stockton, you may get a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, but this wave will kind of set up on top of us tomorrow, and what that will do is allow us to get some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms out there as we go into the afternoon hours. All right, so through the night, pretty quiet, except our northern counties, you may get a random storm or two. We start near 70 during the morning hours, partly sunny skies, back to about 90 by noon, and once we get into the afternoon, you can see a few isolated little thunderstorms trying to pop up. 95 in Chanute, 94 in Coffeyville, 95 in Miami, Pineville up to about 93, Greenfield 91, Monette 91 degrees. Hit and miss isolated storms, mainly along and north of I-44 as we go through the evening hours. Here's 8 p.m. still some isolated storms, and then these are going to start to push off toward the east. But look at this. Here's midnight. Some additional isolated showers or scattered showers start popping up Kansas into Oklahoma and then kind of pushing east. So we may start the day Friday with a few scattered showers through the morning. And I think once we get into the afternoon, mostly sunny skies, but very hot. Look at our temps, mid to upper 90s to near 100 once you get into our western counties. Day planner for you tomorrow, 71 to start, 87 by noon, 91 by 4, but a high temp of 94 degrees as we get into the afternoon. All right, so 95 on Friday, a few spot storms, mainly in the morning, 97 Saturday and Sunday. So it's going to be hot, but it's going to be dry over the weekend. Triple digit heat moving in early next week and then cooling down a little bit late next week.
All right, well, yeah, it's definitely going to be hot, that's for sure.
Yes, it is.
Enjoyed a little bit of a cooler day today.
Yeah, it was nice this week.
It still felt hot, though. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up, how the air travel industry is trying to improve staffing to keep up with demand. The Department of Justice says it squashed a Russian-led attempt to spread disinformation in the U.S. Officials there say a pair of internet domains were seized, as well as hundreds of social media accounts allegedly used by Russian operatives. A so-called bot farm had used artificial intelligence to develop these false profiles that claimed to be U.S. citizens. The Justice Department says the phony accounts would post pro-Russian comments regarding the Kremlin's war against Ukraine. U.S. aviation workforce is handling more volume, and that requires more personnel. Just days after the TSA set a daily record for passenger screening, a House subcommittee looked at new federal provisions aimed at boosting recruitment and retention in the aviation ranks. Karen Kafa is in Washington with the story.
Demand for U.S. air travel is soaring.
8 or 9 of the 10 busiest travel days ever have occurred since May 23rd of this year.
As passenger volume has rebounded from the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of essential aviation workers has lagged.
One of the biggest challenges we have right now is with ATC, air traffic control, and the controllers.
On Wednesday, aviation experts joined a House Aviation Subcommittee to discuss how to implement safety and staffing provisions in the Federal Aviation Administration Reauthorization Act signed by President Joe Biden in May. That includes filling 3,000 vacancies among the nation's air traffic controllers.
Shortage of these vital members of the workforce have resulted in subpar experiences across the ecosystem of aviation.
The panel also highlighted obstacles for the next generation of pilots, especially training costs.
We need additional assistance filling in pay gaps, and students need assistance in funding their dreams of flight.
Katie Nastro of the travel website Going says despite the convergence of lingering staffing shortfalls versus heavy passenger traffic, air travel fared well during the busy July 4th stretch.
Coming out of one of the busiest time periods that we've seen on record, July 4th, and not seeing any mass cancellations or really significant delays by the airlines is a good sign that airlines are actually keeping pace.
But lawmakers planning for future stresses on the system.
This is just going to grow greater and greater
as passenger volume keeps climbing. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Up next, a 4th of July tradition is rocked by a cheating scandal. We'll learn about the claims made against one Nathan's hot dog eating contestant. Well, a jaw-dropping cheating scandal rocks the Nathan's 4th of July hot dog eating contest, with this year's 4th place finisher, Nick Wary, accused of cheating at the Coney Island competition. The two unnamed sources have accused Wary of illegally upping his score by stealing plates from a fellow competitor. Judges used the empty plates to tally each person's score. Wary's original total was 46 3/4 hot dogs, but was boosted to 51 3/4 following a recount. Now, sources claim Wary stole an empty plate before the recount. Wary denies cheating, but acknowledges touching another person's plate and understands why the claims were made. But the numbers changed. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. A look at the staffing challenges facing some Southeast Kansas school districts, plus how Joplin's Bright Futures program is helping families getting ready for back-to-school season.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. School districts in Kansas are still trying to fill staffing positions before the fall semester. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more.
I call them most experienced staff members, sometimes known as baby boomers, are starting to retire, and that's a large number of folks not only in Southeast Kansas but across the nation, and so you're seeing the need for employment.
Pittsburgh USD 250 is just one of many Southeast Kansas schools in our area looking to fill staffing positions before the school year begins. Although there is still a teacher shortage nationwide, it's not necessarily teacher positions they are trying to fill.
We could currently need about 3 to 4 bus drivers to finish out our routing system for this year. We also have bus paraprofessionals, which are bus attendants who also ride the bus.
Here in Fort Scott at USD 234, it's a similar tune to what's going on in Pittsburgh. Not only are they seeking bus drivers, but also paraprofessionals, those people who can provide that little bit of extra help, not only for teachers, but for the students as well.
If the para wasn't there, that teacher might have to spend a lot more time with that student, or that student's behaviors might get out of control and just disrupt the whole class, those kind of things. And so the paras really help us to keep kids focused, and so that the teachers can work with all of the kids and not just 1 or 2.
Now, based on my conversations with school districts in Southeast Kansas, the teacher shortage that they may have experienced last year isn't what they're experiencing this year. However, there's still a need for those difference makers, such as bus drivers, custodians, and paraprofessionals that may not seem like they make a difference, but according to the districts, make all the difference in the world when it comes to teaching students. Reporting in Southeast Kansas, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
And to see a full list of available positions at districts in Southeast Kansas, you can go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, Dr. Richard Biff Williams becomes the 12th president of Missouri State University in Springfield and is talking about his goals in the new role. The university launched a nationwide search for a new president last fall. Cliff Smart recently retired after 13 years in the top job, as well as many years as the university's attorney. Williams says he hopes to carry on the traditions and progress Smart made in his time here.
We'll be at games, we'll be at theater performances, we'll be everywhere. So I think there'll be a lot of similarities from the previous administration, that you'll see me around, you'll see me interacting, you'll see my wife with me, you'll see a lot of student involvement, because that's why we're here.
Williams comes to MSU with 25 years of leadership experience in higher education. He served as a faculty member, a dean, provost, and most recently as president. Well, back to school shopping can be strenuous for families, and Bright Futures in Joplin tries to alleviate some of that financial stress. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has the details on how the program helps.
We lost everything. My house was flattened.
Callie Johnson was affected by the Joplin tornado in 2011, and it strained her family in many ways, including their ability to afford back-to-school supplies.
It was traumatic, and I think I blocked out a lot of it. But it was very scary to know that you lost all of your belongings.
After the financial struggle her parents had because of the tornado, there wasn't much money left to purchase back-to-school supplies.
I didn't have any school supplies. We didn't have any money to get school supplies.
That's when she found Bright Futures in Joplin. It's a program that gives students free back-to-school supplies.
We supply food for the weekends, we supply school supplies, clothing, shoes, coats, anything that a student might need.
Bright Futures Executive Director Amanda Stone says that 93% of Joplin students experience economic deprivation, and being prepared for school opens the door for kids to be successful students.
We want our students, everyone, to be on the same playing field. So as long as the kids have what they need at school, then we hope that they can grow and alongside their peers.
And for parents,
it just takes off that burden of having to buy those extra things.
Callie says that while the tornado was devastating for her family, Bright Futures was the miracle she needed in the midst of the turmoil. Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
In addition to school supplies, Bright Futures also provides snack packs to support the organization. You can either donate or volunteer. A bit later, we'll meet a teen golfer in Kansas who made history with a near impossible feat at a junior tournament.
Well, of course, it's the middle of July, so it was hot outside today, and it's going to get hotter as we go through the next few days, but overall it looks pretty good for us right now. Nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. We are looking downtown Joplin off toward the north and to the east. Pretty much clear skies. That's in general what we're going to see tonight. Maybe a few clouds streaming through. Still warm, upper 70s to lower 80s across the region. Let's go outside. Here's 7th and Rangeline sitting at 81. Southeasterly winds are light at about 5 to 10. Dew points coming up just a little bit, which they usually do when we get into the overnight hours, but still sitting into the mid 60s. So this makes us feel a little bit sticky out there, but not too bad. Humidity will slowly rise as we go through the next few days. Looking good here. We have pretty much clear skies, not too much going on. We've been tracking thunderstorms across the northern and central part of Missouri and then also back through the Kansas City metro. And these guys most likely will fall apart by the time they get into our northern counties, but we can't rule out a few little scattered thunderstorms, Nevada, over toward Sheldon and also Stockton Lake a little bit later on tonight. But besides that, it's pretty quiet. This weak little boundary will slide in as we go through the daytime hours for us tomorrow, and that will give us a chance for a few isolated little tiny thunderstorms across the region. All right, let's see here. Let's go through time tonight. Temperatures, not too bad. We're going to drop back near 70 for an overnight low. Partly cloudy skies through the morning hours. Quick warm up, about 90 by noon. Most of us will get into the mid-90s. Watch the isolated thunderstorms trying to pop up late tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. Most of these will be along and north of Interstate 44, but some of these could have some pretty good downpours across the region. Hit and miss storms through the evening and then pushing east by mid-evening, and then again Kansas and Oklahoma, some hit and miss showers popping up lasting into Friday morning. And then I really think Friday afternoon looks pretty good. It's just going to be hot. Look at our temps into the mid to upper 90s across the region. Day planner 71 to start, 87 by noon, 91 by 4. I think our high temp right around 94 with those hit and miss storms late in the day. Let's go into the weekend. Still mid-90s Friday, mid to upper 90s on Saturday. I think upper 90s again on Sunday. And then once we get into Monday, we're going to approach 100 degrees across the region. We're going to stick right about this on Tuesday and then even into Wednesday, and then maybe a few thunderstorms trying to get down here by the time we head into Wednesday night. 94 tomorrow, 95 Friday. Let's go 97 Saturday, 97 as we get into Sunday as well, and then possibly triple-digit heat early next week.
Yeah, not looking forward to that triple digit.
Nope, nobody does.
Yeah, we can muster through it though.
Yeah, we can do
it. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, the situation is growing more dire across hurricane-ravaged Texas, with the sun's intense rays beaming down on destruction from Beryl. But with so many people without power, the heat is adding insult to injury throughout the aftermath of the storm. Fox News' Chris DeMeo reports.
Hurricane Beryl may now be in the past, but damage from the deadly storm is putting more lives at risk across the Lone Star State, with thousands of people still without power as summer temperatures keep climbing.
It's going to hit 106, 108 with the heat index. Not having power is just, the heat is oppressive here.
As of Tuesday night, more than 1.7 million homes and businesses were still in the dark. It's triggering long lines at gas stations as Texans wait for fuel to power generators.
I have contacted Centerpoint and created an account with them, and they did send a message saying that they know that over 800 or 1,000 people in my area are without power, and they'll get to us when they can.
Beryl made landfall along the Gulf Coast early Monday as a Category 1 storm with maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour. Beryl's gusts sent trees crashing onto homes and utility lines. Now it's a race against time to restore power and clear fallen debris.
Food is thawing out. I'm going to have to barbecue everything.
But with perishable items spoiling in the heat.
It's catastrophic when you lose everything in your fridge.
Food pantries are lending a helping hand to keep people fed.
We have about 250, 300 cars right now waiting to get food.
This as folks flock to cooling centers for relief.
I don't know if it's that you grow up and you feel the heat more than you do when you were younger, but it feels like it's gotten a lot hotter over the years.
Centerpoint Energy says that the company expects to restore power to 1 million customers by the end of Wednesday. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Coming up in sports, 4 wrestlers from Frontenac prepare for a national tournament in North Dakota. Plus, the Joplin Outlaws try to beat Fort Smith for the second night in a row. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
The Frontenac Wrestling Club is sending 4 athletes to the national championships in Fargo, North Dakota this weekend. Abby Albright, Maya Courtney, Harper Holmes, and Piper Lowe are ready to face some of the best competition in the country.
I'm looking forward to competing against some tough girls and just learning more about the type of wrestling. And I'm also really excited because I got injured this season, so I get to come back and wrestle some this summer and make up for the matches I missed.
I think it'll help me by, like, in the future I'll really get to know, like, what's up and, like, the real competition, especially because it's my first year going, because I was too young to go last year. But I think it'll be pretty good knowing, like, going at such a young age, so then in the future I know, like, how I can really prepare.
I think I'm just going to get better skill. I get more experience by wrestling other people out there, so it's going to help out.
It's pretty cool. I think that it'll help us as a team next year too. Just we'll all be experienced.
The Joplin Outlaws are back in action this evening on the heels of last night's 3-2 victory over the Fort Smith Marshals. Those two teams square off again tonight. Outlaws closing out their homestand against Fort Smith, and Joplin's bats struggle early against Marshall starting pitcher Jonathan Martinez. He strikes out the side in the second inning. All three Outlaw hitters go down swinging. But in the bottom of the third, with the Outlaws down 1-0, Rayvon Morgan smashes this pitch deep to right center, and it falls just in front of the fence. He legs out an RBI double to tie the game at 1. Fort Smith, though, gets that run right back. Next half inning, Christian Altamirano crushes one down the line and right. That stays fair. It scores a run, and he cruises into third with a stand-up triple. Game stays close until Fort Smith scores 7 in the top of the 6th. Last check of that score has Joplin trailing 10-4. Over in the Mink League, the Nevada Griffins on the road in Jeff City tonight. It's been a long season for Nevada, who's in last in the league standings. They're down 6-3 in the top of the 9th. The Griffins play again tomorrow in Sedalia, who just beat them in both ends of a doubleheader yesterday. Over to Major League Baseball, the 2024 edition of the I-70 series between the Royals and Cardinals begins today. The two MLB teams from the Show Me State play a doubleheader in St. Louis, the front end starting at 12:45 this afternoon. Well, the Royals win Game 1 of the doubleheader. After falling behind 3-0, they score the next 6 runs in that contest. They go on to win it 6-4. Salvador Perez has 2 big RBIs in that contest. Same story in Game 2. Kansas City wins 8-5. Former Cardinal Michael Wacha earns the win on the mound. He throws 5 innings, allowing just 3 runs while striking out 3. That's it for sports. Back with more news after this.
A 13-year-old golfer from Heston, Kansas is celebrating his near impossible accomplishment at a junior golf tournament this week. Nick Nelson reports.
Many professional golfers dream about getting a hole-in-one at least once in their career. But what about 2 in the same round?
I still don't feel like it's real.
That's exactly what 13-year-old golfer Evan Kane did in the first round of the Kansas Junior Golf event Monday. According to the National Hole-in-One Registry, there's about a 67 million to 1 chance of that happening.
To know that he went out and did that, I never would have dreamed that that's what he would have done, and now has that memory forever. It's a proud parent moment.
Rebecca Kane says she saw her son develop a passion for the game of golf from the time he was little. However, she says he's really stepped up his game once he started competing.
Maybe within the last 2-3 years, but I'd definitely say this last year he's always out here now. I mean, sun up, sun down, we get him when it's dark, we have to make him come in and eat. So he's been very dedicated lately.
As a matter of fact, dedicated enough to even give me some advice on how to hit the ball on the fairway.
You obviously want to get birdies and stuff, so put it decently close, but it's not the easiest. It's easier said than done.
Easier said than done. That's exactly what I found out. I may need to work on my swing. However, Evan has many more years to accomplish more in the game of golf. He's taking time now, though, to enjoy the glory.
I was just shocked and didn't believe it or anything until everyone started cheering and stuff.
Well, coming up, how animated movies are taking over the summer box office. Family-friendly animated fun is banking at the box office. We have a look at the summer success stories so far and big movies on the way. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Everybody!
Animated adventures are dominating the summer box office.
Inside Out 2, which is already record-breaking, and Despicable Me 4. So, Eric, tell me what they made and also what other records they broke.
Well, Inside Out 2 is now over 1.2 billion worldwide. This was the #1 highest grossing weekend for Fandango, the opening weekend of Inside Out 2. It is now the #5 biggest animated film ever worldwide. Also just crossed the distinction of being the biggest film ever in the history for the country Mexico. But watch out for Despicable Me 4. $230 million worldwide.
I'm coming for my revenge.
Opening weekend, $122 million for the 5-day holiday weekend. This is the second biggest opening for the Despicable Me franchise.
This follows up what was a slow start to the summer box office. So can you give an overall picture of how the summer box office started, where it began to pick up, and where we see it now?
We started to see some momentum for the summer box office beginning with Bad Boys. The combination of Bad Boys and Inside Out 2 brought all audiences back to the movies. The Quiet Place Day 1 had the most successful opening weekend for that entire franchise. And then it kind of spilled over into Despicable Me 4. I believe it's going to continue to spill over into Twisters, into Deadpool and Wolverine.
In August, a couple more releases could bank big.
There are genre releases like Alien Romulus, like Borderlands, that I think also have a good chance of breaking out.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of black bear cubs at a Florida zoo. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.